Hi, I'm Justin Arnett Graham.
And I'm Nariba Shepherd. And this is Terms of Service. What was that sound?
I don't know.
It felt natural. You just like.
I mean, it was, it was giving a nice little.
I mean, it added some pizzazz, some razzle dazzle.
Exactly. And when you did that the first time, we were all like,
gasp.
The fuck is this?
I know.
But I'm here for it. And I love you for it.
I'll support your journey.
You know what? It is what it is. And even if you didn't support it, I'm still going to do it. It might be a new thing. It might be a new tradition.
Do it.
But how you doing?
I'm chilling. I feel very relaxed.
I mean, you got your legs up.
I know. Like the incense is burning.
Yes, we're feeling very calm.
Nuzzled into my little corner here.
Yeah, because it's about to be a problematic-ass episode.
I mean, are you just ready to be sassed to within an inch of your life?
Oh, I know this dude so well, and I can't wait for the masses to hear us just doing the damn thing.
I can't wait for them to see who you truly are.
Bitch, what?
You have been impostering me this entire time, allegedly, based on the information I received right before we sat down.
What do you mean?
I'm not going to introduce the guest prematurely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Damn. But I'm just saying, I got some insider information.
Okay, great. I can't wait.
Nice.
It's going to be awful.
How are you?
I'm now nervous because I was like...
She's scared.
Yeah, I was like, what did this man say to you?
Nothing that you need to worry about.
Great. Until later, and it's just like, boom. It's a whole fucking shebang, you know?
I mean, we're here. We're in season 4. We're holding it down.
And I feel like you're saying it to remind yourself that we're in season 4.
I really am.
Okay,
it's
fair.
Wild that it will be 4 years coming up that we have been doing this. Here.
Not immediately, but later.
I mean, yeah, later. But like we're like in the last 6 months of the 4th year. Are we? Is that math? Is it 7 months? Hell yeah. We are.
Yeah.
So
that's fine.
You're welcome. And we're just sitting here in Blind Barber.
Exactly.
Not at night when it is a different beast.
It's true,
Y'all should pop over here and try it out though. If you're into loud spaces with people and alcoholic beverages. If you're into going out, you should go out here.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. And as always, shout out to our homies at Blind Barber for hosting this necessary conversation.
For real, yeah.
So I feel like our guest needs no introduction, but I'm going to force him to do it anyway. So, Faiz, how are you?
I'm doing great, Justin.
Fantastic. Wow, I can already hear it, and I'm so fucking ready for this.
It was regular.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. So say it.
Yes, so...
Traditions. Do you want to ask?
I do.
Yeah.
What's your sign, babe?
I am a Gemini.
Back to back, baby.
And that's all I know about it is what the sign is.
Are you June or July Gemini?
I am June. I'm like almost the cutoff for...
Did I miss your birthday?
Gemini Cancer. It was a couple weeks ago.
So yes.
Gemini Cancer?
Okay, well, happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you want to give the date?
June 18th.
Acceptable.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Absolutely, for sure. We have to do the pleasantries now.
Yeah.
Before he just lets me have it later.
Before the two of you get into fisticuffs.
Yeah, we're not going to get into fisticuffs. We're just going to,
Fisticuffs is what I refer to as polite conversation because it's old-timey jargon for respectable boxing. So fisticuffs to me in terms of lingo is a respectable conversation.
It's fair.
I think
you'll
that's
get
fitting.
A little sassy, but you're not murdering each other. I'll ref it also.
Very valid. Okay, I was like, yeah, that's...
I'm here for the menergy.
The menergy?
Menergy.
Okay.
Menergy.
Well, if you want to go ahead and,
the Gemini read. I mean, How do you feel about the following scenario? Let me put it out here. It's the middle of the work week. You have the idea that you want to do something special. Do you A, do it with someone that you enjoy, or B, do it on your own?
Both.
There you go. I didn't even have to carry on with the conversation because the Gemini in him was like, I want it all, baby. That's it. I don't even have to go deeper.
That's fair.
Explanation.
That makes sense.
I gave him two choices. He chose both.
Yeah. Because when I see like the thing on Instagram that pops up that's like your pizza topping as a zodiac sign, I'm like, I would eat almost all of these pizza toppings.
But you're lactose intolerant.
Semantics.
So you're not going to eat all
The
of it.
cheese
You're not
is
gonna
beneath.
but you're not going to eat any of it.
The question isn't about the cheese,
And I feel like we're
Justin.
starting
It's
already
about
because
the
I was just like,
toppings.
because that's not fair.
What?
Because that's simply not true. Because I was just like, you know goddamn well.
Justin
you're
showed
not
up
having,
ready
you're not having
to
the pizza.
fight today.
Different reference.
I will sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not worth it.
Being lactose intolerant was not a life decision that I made. It was
Our
something
producer is
that
lactose
was
intolerant.
made for me.
He also eats cheese.
So I,
But he takes the meds. Do you take the meds?
No.
Exactly.
I used
I'm this
to.
guy.
Every single lactose intolerant person eats cheese.
Yeah.
Every single one.
Okay.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of the cheeses do have lactose removed from it now, especially like cheddars and such. But like goat cheese and sheep's milk cheese and all of that
Alicia
is
Noah's
different.
Jones for confirmation on that. Shout
Big
out to her
Daddy
episode.
Jones.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Hi,
Right.
Alicia. We love you so much. So
Nitty gritty.
Fez,
Of y'all arguing?
Fez. No, we're not gonna. We're gonna have a wholehearted conversation. But I want to start appropriately with my dear friend's background. So, where are you from? And don't leave out a single damn detail.
Sure.
No pressure.
So I was born and raised in a small town in Tennessee called Oak Ridge. I lived there until I went to college. I went to the University of Tennessee.
How far is that from Nashville?
It's about 3 hours from Nashville.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Which direction?
Nashville is west of us.
Fantastic. Wouldn't know the difference.
We are in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains.
I know it as the Appalachians.
Yes, because you're not from there.
Appalachie.
Yeah.
It's feeling like a read, babe. But it's all
I
good.
mean, it's giving the same energy as like Americans calling zebras when it's zebra, because you don't say Debra, you say Deborah,
Right.
and Americans didn't name them.
I know
So
zebra.
we out here being
I know a
zebra.
I have never heard zebra before.
Whoa.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
you're American.
Very.
Well-
Yeah.
This is a learning circle, so we're just sharing education and
Yeah.
resources here.
Yeah.
So continue, Fez.
I don't think I can say zebra. I'm sorry. And I don't think I can teach that to my kids either. It's got to be.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
America, fuck yeah.
Rock, flag, and eagle.
Damn, dude. Okay. So it just continues on.
I'm just here to do my la-di-das and diddly-dees, okay?
I love that so much.
But let's carry on. So
University of Tennessee,
Yes.
go Vols. Softball national champions, future football national champions.
You make it too easy.
Baseball.
dude.
Hop off on softball.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
yeah,
I was like, Pride Month is over.
they do have a very good softball
know.
team.
Yes.
That I
Good
do.
at softball,
I
good at
played
baseball, women's
softball.
basketball.
It's a sports show. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. Trust me.
When
I
you
understand.
asked me what I wanted to talk about and I sent you a list of like 15 things, I'm pretty sure like 9 were sports related.
Yeah, and so can't wait to get into that.
Yeah.
But yes, continue volunteer.
Went to culinary school there.
Hold on. We're not moving past the volunteer thing.
okay.
What's the name of Tennessee's thing?
We are the volunteers because
And why are you the volunteers?
there was a war and they asked for, I believe
Shocking.
it was 5,000 men to go from the state of Tennessee to go fight in the war.
Which side?
This was,
It matters.
I want to say this was the Battle of 1812 or the War of 1812.
War of 1812. Okay.
And I believe it was the Battle of New Orleans. But I really wish I had fact checked this before I started.
It's fine. We will.
But
All of us acting like we don't have Google on our phone.
Yeah.
We're
Right.
just like, yep.
yeah, Google is free. Please.
like 15,000 Tennesseans went to go fight in this battle.
Ooh, they are overachievers.
Yes. And so because of that fighting spirit, that volunteer nature, that's why our school is known as the Volunteers.
Love that.
That is
That's cute.
a choice.
I mean,
The Volunteers, you know what? I will take it because we are out here rocking with like some pretty fucked up teams,
Yes.
racism wise. So I will take the Volunteers. I take back what I was going to say. I was about to talk shit, but no, I
There's-
like it. I'll
Sports
take it.
team names are generally kind of terrible.
Oh, 110.
yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
Have you heard of the Buffalo Bills?
Yeah.
yeah,
Do you know what a bill is?
money
Well,
or
yeah.
or an invoice
Yeah, but it
that needs to be paid.
right, but that's not the name of a team. It's not.
Wait.
It's not the Buffalo Invoices.
Wait, now I need to
You
know.
and it should be
Wait,
actually
like a Bill of
Actually.
Rights?
No, but it's named for the person Buffalo Bill. Like I always assumed
like
that.
like the actual like,
Yeah.
serial killer
Oh,
dude.
seriously?
I think he was like an outlaw.
Ooh.
Oh, Buffalo Bill was an outlaw, babe.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about like the Silence of the Lambs.
Oh,
Buffalo
no.
Bill
No,
dude.
no.
Okay, different Bill.
I always assumed like a bill was like a type of animal, but no, it's named after Buffalo Bill, and he didn't even live in Buffalo. He was like near there at one point in time.
That is very American.
Yeah.
Just absorbing something that might not historically be yours, but making it your own.
yes,
You
like
don't say.
the Utah Jazz.
Like the country.
They don't play jazz in Utah?
Do you think they play jazz in Utah?
I don't fucking know.
The Mormons are there. They don't have
No,
jazz.
no
Excuse
music
me?
there.
The Mormons are there.
That doesn't mean that they,
They
don't
don't
listen to
have
music.
jazz.
Okay, and you know what? And we're not going down the slippery slope because I don't have time for it. And also, I wouldn't even know how to begin to navigate that in our DMs. Okay, so, nope. So,
Okay, so
Utah
so
Jazz-
going back-
As someone who has watched a lot of documentaries about the Mormons, they're not listening to jazz music.
Okay, that's fair. That is entirely fair.
They're doing a lot of other things that are not listening to jazz music. So,
Very
Buffalo
valid.
Bill.
So yeah, Buffalo
Moving
Bill,
on.
Tennessee Vols.
Yes.
We call them the Vols for short.
The
Oh,
abbreviation
so you
of
said
volunteers.
go balls,
Go
not
balls.
go balls. Oh, I thought you said go balls earlier.
Oh, no.
That's why I was just like,
I thought
Pride
it was
Month is
like
over, babe.
a Chicago
You know what I mean?
situation where it
Like-
was like Koval, and I was like, what?
No, we're
But
dropping
yeah.
a lot of different brand names here.
I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, go on, Fez.
After that, I moved to Washington D.C. I was there
And
for.
funny thing about Washington, D.C., because I think that it's going to be quite imperative for people to hear this tidbit that I didn't know, and maybe I'm in the minority. So if you would like to share that before you continue on with your wonderful statement.
What are you referring to, Justin?
I am referring to Washington, D.C., and I guess its nickname, because you told me that I should know it from The Wire.
the capital
which-
city.
Okay, continue, please.
So what Justin is referring to is the nickname of DC, which is Chocolate City, and this is how Justin and I. This is how our relationship kind of began.
He walked up to me and he told me that fun fact about Washington, D.C., and I was just like, do you know busboys and poets? And he's just like, absolutely not. I know it's Chocolate City.
That's
Listen,
what
busboy-
I know
okay.
busboys and
He's like,
poets.
he's like,
I
that's
have
not even
both.
true at all.
I have something that leads into both of these. My best friend from college grew up in Arlington, Virginia. And
I'm convinced that no one lives
when
in D.C.
she
They live around D.C.
moved to, they call it Nova, North Virginia, which is like,
Yeah.
okay, whatever. That's a side quest. But when I first met her in college in Vermont, she referred to me as a chocolate person.
Don't look at me like I refer to people
I was
that
like,
way.
And I had to quickly explain why that is not a thing. And you should not go up to another Black person here in Vermont and say, chocolate person.
But maybe they're bringing it back because the reason why D.C. is referred to as the Chocolate City is why.
So there's two reasons. One is DC
Black
was the
people.
first majority. DC was the first major city to have more than 50% of its population be African American, and around the time that they crossed that threshold was when the George Clinton and the Parliament song "Chocolate City" came out. So they took that name for themselves.
Chocolate on chocolate. Heard.
Okay, very nice. All right, well,
DC.
this has always been a new thing to me. And as Faiz knows, I ask literally everyone about it. And he will randomly send me links to The Wire.
Oh, I don't watch The Wire. I'm black. I grew up in the hood. I don't need that.
But they refer to DC as Chocolate City, apparently.
They did.
The side quest on Busboy and Poets, though, is that I made a cocktail on the last menu based off of the DC tapped water because that was the first illegal alcoholic beverage I ever had. They did not ID me there.
The only thing that I will mention in regards to that is that I was there a super long time ago, and it was a cute vibe.
It's
And
cute.
I remember that the name, and that's pretty much it.
I mean,
you know? that's my main
DC tap
spot.
water was burned into my brain in that moment. It's essentially just like a weird color blue beverage. I cannot remember the flavor profile
Does this
of
sound
it
familiar to you, Faiz?
whatsoever.
No.
But
DC tap water.
it was like on their menu in 2010 because I was not 21 yet.
We're gonna have to figure out how to edit that out.
You could leave that in there. It's fine.
It's going to the attorneys. They're gonna be
I
like,
mean,
because we called them
The
out.
statute of
statute of
limitations.
Yeah, statute of
limitations. It's
yeah,
fine.
yeah, that's entirely
Yeah.
fair. That's fine.
And
Well,
it's not
yeah,
like
we
they
just
have
won't-
multiple locations, you know? It's not like there's one location and I'm like, Tim did not ID me. I don't know. Anyway, moving forward from DC. So you were in DC for a sec.
No, he was there for
a few minutes.
a long time.
How many minutes?
I was there for almost 12 years.
Oh, that's time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So why don't you talk to us about this time?
These were my these were like the formidable years for me. This is where
God, I was hoping that you were going to say that word.
Oh,
I was
good.
like, yeah. See, same.
we know
wavelength.
each other way too well.
It's a wild ride, babe. Absolutely.
DC is where I showed up as like a young. I was a young cook.
Young volunteer.
No, I did not volunteer for that.
Everyone should be paid for
Please,
it.
nah, I wasn't giving volunteer work. No.
Please
So-
pay me as much as you possibly can,
Great.
which was not very much.
No.
Okay.
A pittance.
So I showed up in DC, and I had been a sous chef at my restaurant in Tennessee, and I was very quickly told that like your little podunk restaurant carries no weight here.
Yeah.
You're gonna be a line cook,
Damn.
and if you can hack it, then maybe you can make it here. And I took that as a great challenge. I really liked the chefs that I was working for at the time.
It's fucking rude, though.
You know, it's a restaurant. And at the same
I
time,
literally was waiting for you to say those words because yes, it is a restaurant, but that is not a standard that people who are entering a workplace should feel.
Right.
And it doesn't happen in other jobs. So why is it acceptable here in kitchens? And I can say that because I was a chef for a fucking decade. So it's like, why is that the standard that we have to walk into? You don't have to answer that question. Food for thought.
I will quasi defend the chef because
Yes,
he told
cool.
me, he said, look, when I interviewed with them, I had 2 weeks between the interview and when I actually moved there. And because I had to go back and get my notice in my old restaurant because,
Standard.
yeah, you got to take care of your people.
Exactly.
We'll circle
That's
back
more
on that.
on-
We're going to circle back on that.
Yeah.
So he told me, he said, look, we were part of a larger group and they were opening a new restaurant and 2 or 3 of his top people were leaving to go open the new restaurant. And he told me, he's like, look, I'm losing 2 or 3 of my best guys. I need you to step up. I need you to work the hardest station on the line. And I really need this to work out. And I just looked at him and I said, Rick, I just moved 500 miles to be here. I have nothing else in this city and I came here just to work this job. So if this doesn't work out, I'm screwed. You'll probably be fine. And he
Yeah.
was like, yeah, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
And that was it. We were off to the races. I spent like a little over a year there, year and a half. I met another chef who was opening his first restaurant. He was doing things that I had never seen before. He was grilling avocados to make crudos with. He was like charring onions to make like onion jam and burnt chimichurri. And it was all, there were things that were done the complete opposite way of what you're taught in culinary school.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I was
Wait, are you a culinary school bitch?
at the University of Tennessee.
Gag. Sorry. I wanted to be a culinary school bitch, but my mom is too ethnic to let me do that. She was like, Nariba Shepherd, if you think I paying money for you to go learn how to chop vegetables, you're crazy.
Not the Trini coming out.
But
Same.
I will say, though, that a lot of the chefs that I worked for, half of them have gone to culinary school. And even the ones that went to culinary school were like, you didn't have to do this. To do this.
Well,
And you learn, this is the thing, it's the same as college because I'm not even using my fucking degree. I have a bachelor's of science in education
we've
that
talked
I
about
don't
you're using
use.
a fraction of your degree with this.
Exactly. I think that like you can learn a lot, but it doesn't teach you how to actually do your job.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what college is. You like learn a lot, but even if I had gone into social work, it wouldn't have taught me how to do social work.
Right. I mean, my whole thing, to be quite honest here, is just the overall reality of education versus reality, right? Like, I mean, yeah, my biggest thought process is always thinking about this kind of blueprint that you invest in, but when it comes to putting it in practice, you're like, okay, well, I can take elements of this blueprint, but I mean, there's no full transparency into what the actual labor force and the culture of these environments look like.
No.
Yes. I think that's one of the big differences, though, between like traditional college and culinary school, because when you go to college or you think about going to college, you're told like, this is where you'll develop as a person. This is where you'll expose yourself to new ideas and similar people to you. And you're really going to like grow as an individual and you'll get a degree that should help you in your future. But when it's culinary school, they tell you like, you're going to get out of here and you're going to be a chef. You're going to be able to make this much money and you're going to be able to do all these things. And that is not what you learn in culinary school. You learn how to do one task at a time at a very slow pace. And you don't learn how to, when you get out of culinary school, you have to go cook on a line somewhere.
So you learn how to be a part of a larger scale system.
No,
you don't even learn that.
don't.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
It's a lot
the
of
problem.
information that you learn like the origins of techniques, you learn like flavor of infinities, like these kind of things. But in practice, like watching an intern peel garlic when I was like at Blackbird was the most painful fucking thing in the world because they're doing the trick where you shake the shit out of them between two 9-pans.
I do that.
does that work? I've never been able to successfully peel garlic in any way that
No,
wasn't
it does
just
not
peeling
work
it.
for me.
Thank you.
Okay.
It does
That's-
not work for me. No. But I saw it
But that's what I'm
on the
saying.
internet.
That's what
and
I'm
I was
saying.
like, you know
It's
what?
like-
This is.
Yeah.
I was like, this feels like a life hack for me.
Culinary school is like a life hack situation. It's like the idea of doing these things.
Yes.
But you also, and I don't know this personally because I didn't do culinary school. I just did like a program. I feel like the connections, it's all about the connections you make while you're in progress that lead to things later on.
Is that true? For you?
So our
Like if
culinary...
you plan on staying in that same state.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, so also I was in culinary school with, there were a lot of, it's like a very mixed bag of people. So some people wanted to learn how to cook and had never worked in a restaurant before. Some people were people who were like stay-at-home moms who wanted to just like learn cooking and things for fun. And there were 3 of us in the school who were all around the same like level. We all had been working in restaurants and we were all like sous chef level people. And from day one, we were just like, it's the 3 of us. It's us against like the other 2.
Yes.
Right.
Nonstop. Like we would never partner on anything. Everything was just, all you wanted to do was beat those other 2 guys.
That's
and
that
every single
narcissism.
thing we did. And it was brutal competition every day. We would talk shit the entire class, but we would look at each other and if they were doing something that like I didn't know or I didn't understand, I would be like, wait, why are you doing it this way? Why are you adding vinegar to a strawberry sauce? And he would explain
questions.
that.
Yep.
And we learned so much from each other, and just being in that competitive mindset the whole time, that made culinary school worth it for me.
Question.
Yes.
So that sort of, you know, frat mentality.
Yes.
Do you think that maybe not you specifically, but just within the context of the industry, would have people be part of some collateral damage in regards to toxic masculinity that is prevalent in the kitchen?
No, I don't think any of that was toxic, though. We were very like, it was
but see, that's the separation, though. So you don't see it as toxic. However, women, you know, may experience it differently.
Or just people that are not men.
And we're going in a direction, and you know exactly where I'm going, because it's gonna be so good when we land there.
I do not want to speak to the experience of women in the hospitality industry, because I'm not a woman in the hospitality industry. But from being a man in the hospitality industry, it's tough. Right? It's tough for women in like all environments in which you have to,
because it's a man's world.
So super quickly before we continue on this path, because it's about to get so fucking good, I would love to just give a quick shout out to the delicious beverage that we are enjoying. Thank you so much, Katie McCourt, for stepping in for Garnet, and you're amazing. So thank you. We are enjoying a Queen's Passion, which is featuring ritual rum alternative, lime, simple syrup, and chinola passion fruit liqueur and Angostura bitters.
Is this a play on a swizzle? Nice.
Yes. See. Very nice. And also
the Queen's Park swizzle
low ABV.
It's
so
delightful.
We're going to be very conscious as we continue along this path. So this is interesting, and this is not where I imagined that we would begin going. But so we can all agree that the man's experience within the kitchen and the world of hospitality has a significant difference from a woman's experience, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. But so with that, do you believe that there is an inherent responsibility to combat some of those behaviors to ensure a more equitable landscape and diversity within the environments in which you are a part of?
Yes. But like going back to the culinary school environment, it was about learning from each other, because I hope none of my culinary school teachers hear this, because some of them were amazing. Shout out Rick Rickerman. Amazing.
That was his name?
Rick Rickerman?
Yes.
Cool. I want to see your driver's license.
But some of the instructors, a lot of your instructors in culinary school are older industry veterans who are teaching you the things that they learned when they were young people, and they're not like very modern techniques. They're not like the things that you'll do in practice, and you're really like,
so it's generational.
I mean, all of the culinary industry is generational trauma.
I completely understand that. But what I am knowing that we're getting to is there is a ton of cultural nuance these days in regards to, like, you know, our parents need to go to fucking therapy. Okay, like that's a very
we all need to go to therapy.
We all need to go to therapy.
Yeah.
But however, it's just like, shout out to my folks. Book a session. You know what I mean? Like that's a thing.
Yeah.
You know, and when I think of how I was raised, that is quite traumatic, like everyone else, right? So how do we kind of stop and reflect to, you know, prevent passing on generational trauma? Because the whole idea was like, I went through this, it's okay if someone else goes through that.
Well, yes and no.
Maybe I'm wrong here, but I think that this is really important because I respect you both, and I'm just going to
go out on a whim here on this one and say we should let him keep going with what he was saying.
No, absolutely.
Because he was talking about a microcosm, and that's like the growing part of it. It does start there of like this competitive nature, but you've heard me say multiple times that like to be a chef and to be a successful chef, you have to be a narcissist, which is why I don't date chefs. As a recovering chef, I'm like, I had to believe in myself bigger than anyone else. I had to believe in myself more than every white dude who went to culinary school and were mediocre as shit and do 3 times the amount of work to be noticed so that it can move forward. So that's what I'm saying. I'm like, culinary school is the breeding ground for that energy of like, everyone is doing more research outside of the work that they are assigned so that they could be on the cutting edge of this shit. And that's why learning from each other is the best way to grow in kitchens. So like, let's see where he's going. And see how he can. I know it's crazy. Therapy working for me.
Yes.
Hearing someone out.
Yeah.
To make like a broader point about just like the world that we're in now, I think one of the biggest issues that we have is we ended up in this world where intent stopped mattering. Because a long time ago, people realized that you could get out of trouble because if you said something offensive to somebody, you could just say, "Oh, that wasn't my intent," and it was supposed to be okay.
Oops, might be.
Right, and then we went way too far the other direction, and it's like whatever your intent is doesn't matter. And I think we have to live somewhere in the middle of that. Right. So like, yeah,
I don't like the gray area talk, but keep going.
So to us in school, we're standing next to each other at the stove, just talking mad amounts of shit to each other.
Yeah.
But the intent was like, we're friends and we're learning from each other and we're having fun doing this.
May I ask you something?
Yes.
Okay. So because I'm drawing a very distinct parallel here.
Sure.
So you are a sports enthusiast.
Yes.
So with that camaraderie, with that experience, does that lend itself to the culture of sports in which you're so passionate about as well?
Oh, big time.
Yeah, 110%. Yeah.
I'm not saying it. I'm asking.
Yeah, no.
You know? Yeah.
But,
so,
yes.
Because I think that's a very unique distinction and point of view. Because for me, because you already know how I feel about sports, because I call them a sports show.
Ball. Yeah.
Okay, sports ball,
show.
Whatever. Shout out to the teams. You know,
the one time that Justin tried to talk about sports on this platform, I had to correct him because
Sounds
who
right.
did you think? You said you saw the Sox versus the who?
The Steelers.
The Steelers.
Oh.
There we go.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
No.
Got a lot of DMs about that, but also don't care. It's fine. It's fine. It was a wonderful sports show. I had
It was the
phenomenal
Pirates. He had the
Okay,
right
same color scheme,
He had
same
the
city.
right
Exactly.
city.
Sounds
Yeah.
great to me. Sound like I was so stoked to be in the room.
I know.
And you know what?
were.
Found out
You
it's
had
not
a good
room.
time. But
It's
you
not
had a
even
good
room.
time.
It's a fucking field. Great. I was happy to be outside.
Go
Pittsburgh
Steelers, though.
Don't do that because I can't even like defend it. But then also low key, shout out to, you know, some friends that had me and my wonderful father watch the Cubs versus Mets.
Those are
Those
the
are teams.
same genre.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that. I love it so much. And you know, the Cubs got dog walked, but then they, you know, kind of did the whole thing. I don't really know.
I'm a
but it was
Sox
great.
v Sox gal. You know, Red Sox, White Sox.
I went where the tickets were paid for and it was free food and drinks. Okay, because it was a benefit. So we love them so much.
You went for business.
I went there to show my support for the brand.
Business.
So yeah, continue, Faiz.
I just wanted this little sports. Sports are hilarious because you pick a team when you're 8 years old and you let it ruin the rest of your life.
Or
as an
becomes
adult.
your entire identity.
I got walking
You know what I mean?
pneumonia when the Red Sox won the World Series for the first time in forever. We were living in Jersey, and my brother called me up and was like, "They won. I'm picking you up. We're driving to Boston right now." No one took me to the doctor. I was just wandering around dying for like
can't.
a week and a half before
can't.
anyone noticed.
And you're like, worth it.
It felt I felt like I was part of something. Or like when the Cubs won And
I thought my apartment building was going to fall down.
Well, it was the same day that we won a Michelin star for Green River. It was the first one, and it happened the same day. And we were like, this is it for Chicago. Nothing else good is going to happen for a decade.
Or longer.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah, I did let them ruin my life.
Yeah. I do think that there is a very unique culture that is simultaneously at play within the realm of hospitality, but then also the community and competitive nature of sports.
They're both zero-sum games.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you're eating one dinner and it's my restaurant or somebody else's.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And you, yeah.
Yes.
I think that now it's even worse.
There's pride with that.
You have to have pride.
But it's also just, it's survival. If not enough people eat at my restaurant, I don't have a business.
Right. For sure.
If they don't eat, you don't eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, I think that's a big reason why you end up with so much like toxicity in the industry is because it's
dog eat dog.
Yeah. And if you look at, like, if McDonald's charged the same, like if their price structure was the same as like Eli Lilly for a vial of insulin, a Big Mac would cost $400.
That is...
I love that.
Yeah.
I love everything that you just fucking said.
Yeah.
Yes. You're not wrong.
So it's like that's the environment that we're in, that we depend on for our lives, the lives of our families. And you're in that pressure cooker. It's hot. The AC doesn't work.
Yep.
You're surrounded by knives and fire.
Yes.
And
you're hoping for the best every day.
Yeah.
You're hoping that nothing horrible happens. All your deliveries come in. You're hoping that all your line cooks show up. You have a full team to start the roster with. Like, I don't miss any of that. Okay, so I do miss, I miss cooking. I just don't like any of the shit that it comes with, especially if you're not a white dude with tattoos in a kitchen. Like, it is infinitely harder for you to exist in that space.
Up around the block for your spot. Even though
you don't even
always
want
been a problematic asshole
to dibble dabble on that one. We're gonna leave that for Avondale to deal with. That's their fucking problem.
Absolutely.
But like,
we're gonna talk about that off mic. But I'm sure
that's
you've seen
fine.
it.
I haven't been in the city for that long, but I know exactly who and where you.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So like, so I understand like the idea of everyone showing up and doing their part because everyone needs to eat, everyone needs to be fed. I think that the shift in culture of people understanding that being burnt out because of work is something that was a long time coming, I would say, but also because of the visibility of kitchens and bars now, like in a social media lens. Like, I think that for me was like the turning point in being a chef, was like, do I want to commit to also having a TikTok, Instagram, all this shit presence so that my business of feeding people, the original form of social work, has come to this, you know?
Yeah.
Because it becomes its own separate entity outside of what the intention was.
Exactly.
Right? It's just like, okay, like I gotta connect here, gotta connect here, gotta connect here, you know, show my personality over here, show my, you know, level of expertise over here. I have to show that I have like a bit of finesse over here, you know.
You have to do it effortlessly.
Yeah, for sure.
I would say that men dude chefs are now learning kind of like what it's like to be a woman. You gotta make everything look real pretty, but like you can't talk about how much work it took to make it, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like y'all are starting to deal with that in a way that hasn't been an issue prior.
Yeah, because I mean, we've talked about this before, and, you know, Faiz, we're not gonna act as if you haven't listened to terms of service. And so, I mean, the overall reality here is the industry needs to understand a practice in empathy and the realization that when you leave your reality, you're entering someone else's. And that is something to where I know that there is ego masquerading as pride and like whatever. So therefore you don't want to come across as if you don't know what you don't know, right? Because you're supposed to be this pillar of resource, not only for yourself, for your family, for your community, for your staff, for your guests, all of these things, right? Like that is a ton of pressure. But I think that it's really important for people to acknowledge that, you know, we're on this journey together. Like we're only going to get stronger over time together. Faiz.
So I think if you look at the hospitality industry today versus 10 years ago and 20 years ago, it is in a much better place today than it used to be. I think a little bit of that is due to social media, because you've given people outlets to be chefs and not be in restaurants, which I think is like, if I could just make TikTok videos, I don't even have TikTok, but if I could just make TikTok videos of cooking as a career, like
you don't want to do it,
but that would be, it's just like a fantasy of mine.
I know, I understand what you're talking about.
Such a big crush on some creator that you sent me, which
are you good at like editing videos?
No.
Okay, see? That's the thing. Like, I understand where you're coming from. I want that same energy. I want to be like, if I could just like do this online and get paid for it and make like money, that'd be dope. But the idea of editing anything right out the window.
We edit. But
I know that's why we're here. Wow. Okay. You can do those things. And I'm like, how do I splice this together? How do I add two videos to the same thing? I don't know.
An hour to learn how to make a reel on Instagram.
But you posted it. Listen, I saw it.
I did.
We weren't tagged, but I saw it though.
I'm so bad at
share it. So I got you.
I'm so bad at it that they.
It's so many.
Tag
it's okay.
people, music.
Yeah, right.
Why?
Pictures.
You do background music or forefront music, where you don't hear the words or you hear the actual words being spoken. Why? I don't know. I'm not a real person.
Well, because it's an
algorithm.
But it's the element of marketing within the hospitality industry that isn't always anchored in the artistry or creativity of said talent.
Yes.
You know, it's just like, well, who are they working with? Who aligned, like, who's aligning with them? And it's just like, I get a lot of pushback. I get a lot of dialogue in regards to brand support and brand alignment. It's just like, it's not just about them supporting in ways that they are able. It really builds out a community of recognition, right? Like, so when you have brands that want to step up to the plate because they believe in your vision, that's an element of marketing in and of itself. Because the person next to you may or may not have that and simply may never get that. So like that's the way in which like.
Is it weird that my inner chef brain went, well, fuck that person?
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to win.
I don't know. I mean, I see both sides because I'm certainly on both sides.
It's a question of, do you believe in survival of the fittest? And do you think it should be applied to cooking, food, and making drinks?
Right. Because it's not one note. That's the whole thing. It truly is. And I'm sure people are going to be like, oh, Justin, like for real, you're going to say this? I was like, the whole thing is a symphony.
Yes.
Right? Like it's an entire dance. It's an entire show.
But we can understand that because we're in the show. It's like people showing up to see an opera and not understanding the language that it is performed in, but still getting the feeling of it all. And that's what we do when people come into our spaces. They don't understand the X, Y, and Z of the situation, but they get the alphabet of it all.
You are way too eloquent for us.
I was like,
I went to college.
I was like, so did he. So did I.
I know. I'm just.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
when you say, like, when you talk about survival of the fittest in this business, like, the first thing comes into my head is, I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
that is how it should be. But
I mean, that's the way it
maybe-
has
But
been.
then do you negate community in the process? It would seem you would
Well,
have
that's
to.
what we're learning to incorporate now. I feel like it has been in a stagnant pond scum for such a long time, and someone has released the dam, and now we're like, oh, new ideas, like maybe we should listen to these. But it takes a long time for change to happen. I would say that as people of color, we are in a unique situation where we understand that change takes a long fucking time to happen. So that
And also, we don't believe in change either.
I don't believe in change personally. It's against my religion, but I be talking to Molly once a week. Shout out to her. I pay her so that she can listen to me ramble and maybe filter in some real ideas. She's my therapist. But like, I think that the change we are trying to see is happening. It's slow and it's taking a minute, but I think that growth is happening in the industry.
It is. Like,
Yeah.
Reba, have you ever had a plate or like a frying pan or a piece of chicken thrown at you by your chef?
Negative.
Really?
I know. Listen, let me tell you something about me.
What is with the really, though?
It's surprising.
Listen, I know. I have worked with chefs though who have done that to other people, but it has never happened to me because I worked in a way that I used every ounce of my bachelor's of science degree, and I played the let me understand you as a person, one, and then I could see how to manipulate the situation where I am not one to take your bullshit, but I'm a good sounding board. I think that what my counterparts did was I'm going to come in here and I'm going to act like I am in charge and I will one day be the captain running this ship versus being in the beta role until you emerge as an alpha. And I did that very well. And it's because I am a light-skinned, not scary Black woman who is college educated and I could play the game. But people can't come in here and play that game. I'm like, I was raised in New England, okay? I know about fine dining. I went into it knowing that this is going to destroy my soul, but I could potentially learn a lot, create a lot, and come out on top. And I didn't. I got scammed. But I never had any violent outbursts happen towards me. I was called a social justice cunt behind my back for a long time, but yeah, I'm okay with that. I'll get that shit tattooed on my chest.
Well, I was going to say, have you ever thrown a plate at somebody and you
No.
were going to say no? And that's the progress that we're making as like this generation of chefs.
It's good.
I could personally never throw an object at another person. I'm afraid of jail. I'm afraid. Well, first of all, I'm not a
prison.
U.S. citizen, so like I have a green
Deportation.
card. Everything is boiling down to deportation in my mind, especially in this economy. The government don't give a fuck about rules. They'll get rid of me first. I'm like, should I even renew my green card in 2 years when it expires, or like should I
Yes.
just become a
Yes.
citizen? I don't know.
Yes.
But yeah, I think that the change is happening. It's very slow. And people are learning not to settle. And I think that's progressing the change.
Yeah. I got yelled at so badly one time that somebody else quit. Like they heard it and they were like, no, not working here.
I mean, I've been yelled at and I cried once. One time I got yelled at about like fucking up a piece of foie that was cooked perfectly for 3 of the 4 chefs, but not the 4th chef. And he was the one that was working that night. And by the second time I did it, he looked at me and he was like, if you fuck up the 3rd one, I want you to know that you have just wasted $120 of our night. And I turned around and silently cried into the pan. It was the flavor that they needed. They needed not white tears, mine. Yeah, I think like I've cried a lot in walk-ins or on a line in an open kitchen, but no one has ever like physically disrupted my space. Verbally and emotionally ruined. But like,
Right.
yeah.
I lived in a physically disrupted space.
But
But
I'm so sorry.
We're like, but you know, I think that's so the larger issue of like the problem with kitchens. It's those things were not just acceptable, but it was like you go to a bar and you see all your like chef buddies and your line cook friends, and you're like, how many hours did you work this week?
Yes.
How many hours? Oh, you slept more than 4 hours last night. You didn't. You haven't had this ratio of like 16 shots of espresso to
It's like a
16
badge
hours of work.
honor.
You haven't drank water in a week and a half?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that kind of shit.
And it's always like everybody's trying to one up each other to have the worst life.
Yes.
And that makes you somehow like better than everybody else.
Yes.
Well, because I mean, there was this whole, just again speaking from my experience, it's just like there was this whole gross fucking trend, and like I still know these guys, and I'm so thankful that they're on the opposite side of it. But it's just like, what the fuck does it matter? Like, I'm just a dirtbag, you know? Like, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, it's just I'm such a
Listen,
piece of shit.
I was a
and I'm
dirtbag.
like I'm like, this shit is fucking.
I
lame
lived from
and
my
tired as
backpack
hell to me.
and existed on a half bag of cocaine for 5 years. Okay? Like,
but
it doesn't work in reality. You think you're doing something, you think you're like creating a life that you want to live, but realistically, you are struggling to pay rent. You are struggling to have a functional relationship with food outside of work. You don't even know that you're developing a fucking addiction problem. It's like it's like a fraternity, like you said. You're being hazed the entire time, and you don't realize until after you've left that this was not good. And some people don't leave. They get to a spot where like they can make the environment that they want to exist in, and they think that people will function in.
Right.
Like, to this day, I have old line cooks that will reach out to me and be like, you really made it so that I had an opportunity to learn and grow. You didn't question me when I was like, oh, I like need this day off. And I'm like, fucking take it. We're all working like 40 to 60 hours a week. And I know that my mental health is garbage. It's dog shit. And I can't imagine you coming in and having to deal with the same shit and exist in the same way as me. And you're not even making a livable wage. I'm not making a livable wage when I break down my 105 hours for the week and I'm salaried. Like, it doesn't make sense. So it's like there's this thing where you can create the bubble that you want to exist in and the environment that you want other people to have, or you sacrifice yourself and you just try to make a living for you and your family.
Right.
And you disregard the people that are underneath you. And I think we're going to be thinking about that a lot more as they phase out the tipping situation in Chicago. Like, we're in the first year of the 5-year plan. It's already happening. Like, the first raise in minimum wage for tipped employees just happened.
Yeah, on the first of the month. Well, specifically on the 1st of July, but also these businesses out here need to stop acting as if like they have granted you a raise. They have been forced.
110%.
They have been forced to pay you more money.
Yeah.
And you know, I
think it's also we need to like start letting consumers understand what this change means for them, because businesses have been undercharging for the product that they are giving you so that it like helps even out the labor cost. And now people are going to start realizing that just as expensive as it is to go to the grocery store, it's about to be just as expensive to go to your favorite like neighborhood spot and eat food when they have to start charging you the actual amount of money that they should be for your food and beverages. I've had this conversation with people at my bar because the prices of margaritas went up. And I had to have a full conversation about why agave should have been priced higher from the beginning and why it's happening now. So like people are about to learn about consumerism for the first time in their lives.
Yeah, everybody wanted to vote yes, and then nobody wants to pay for that increase.
Yeah.
But I think that the fact that it's now a forced change is going to be, in many ways, it will be a net positive for the industry, but it's finally like...
It's also a social positive because of the implications of the origins of tipping. So yeah. In case you didn't know, or you're late to terms and service, it started when Black and brown people became free and they started working. And it was the concept of being like paid for the work that you're doing. And it was a chosen situation. Right. It was your right as the consumer to choose to pay the person doing the labor for you.
So just as we continue this conversation, the one thing that I would like to add in regard to that very specifically, yes, I can see it being a net positive. I also can understand the opposite side of it as well, because therefore businesses will simply not be hiring as many individuals as they have been in the past.
Yeah.
That is a very significant reality. I also believe that it's quite fascinating to look at it through the lens of it, which is like, I would love a set schedule. Like, you know, like this is fucking like bullshit. I was just
I'm
like,
living
well,
that
babe,
dream
you're
right
going to
now.
get a set schedule. You are eventually going to get a set schedule. And that, like, this will be your new
normal
9 to 5.
Yeah.
And like that's it. And you're capped at that.
I personally love that as a former chef turned bartender. I have a set schedule right now and I fucking love it. I have 3 days off in a row. I know what I can do and what I can't do. And if I need to like finagle and have like a
but I mean
request
across the industry though.
Most line cooks have a set schedule. So it's like it's literally
Across
affecting
the front of house of the industry.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yes. Yeah.
All the changes are happening is like bringing the front of house into everything that everyone else is doing. Like back of house, regular people with regular jobs, like welcome, bitches, welcome. That was my struggle when the first paycheck that I got working front of house, I was irate because I was a executive chef and my paycheck for not even working a full 40 hours was more money than my salaried check. So I'm ready. Bring it on. Everyone's going to be on my team now, bitches.
Right. Well, I also want to, circle it back to earlier with Faiz just talking about your time in DC, because I know that it was significant, and then having you here in Chicago and what you want to see and accomplish and kind of create create change in like an actual culture that people are inspired by and should support, because it's always easy to talk about the shit that's fucked. Like, let's talk about the shit that we can change and, kind of create that new standard.
Sure. So my advice to young people in this business is always the same. The best thing that you can do is not find the best restaurant that you can be a part of, but it's find the best person that you can work for.
Yes.
Find somebody who's going to invest in your growth and your development, who takes like an interest in you as a person.
Yes.
And go work for that person. Because that's where you'll learn the most. That's where you'll be the happiest and you'll be the most fulfilled, and you'll develop the skills that you need, because that person will teach you the important things to like grow as a person. So when I went to DC and I joined this, I was a part of like a startup restaurant group, and the guy who started, Victor Albisu, told me from day one, he's like, I will teach you what it's like to be in my position.
Yes.
So he would talk to me about the business deals that he would make, what things were like with his business partners, the stress of like opening a restaurant, going through inspections. He would have me there with him for a lot of these things. As
Not
we went through,
gatekeeping.
yeah, menu development. And he was very open and honest with me throughout the entire process. We worked together for almost 10 years.
Whew. Yeah.
I get
And that's what you need. And so as a chef, like that's what I would try to tell people. When I was at my last restaurant, we were getting ready to promote somebody from line cook to sous chef, and he had a lot of reservations about taking that
is the
position.
person that you want to promote, though.
Yes.
Because they're thinking about what could go wrong instead of focusing on how they could make their mark on the space.
Yes.
And you could do both, but one shouldn't be the forefront. Yeah.
And I told him at the end of the day, I was like, look, the guy that you're working for, because I was getting ready to leave. So the guy that you're going to work for really likes you. And like, that's the most important thing for you at this point. You're like 20 years old. You have no responsibilities. Like, it's okay that your life is going to be slightly disrupted. Your schedule is going to change a little bit as you take on this new role, but you're in a position where you can learn and grow and be successful. So if you're a young person, find those people who can actually mentor you. In every corporate job in America, you have some form of a mentor. If it's like a career coach or a mentor like within your organization, like everybody has those people who teach them and help them to be a sounding board for them as they like advance through their career. And you have to have that as a young chef.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
I think I had the most
Very well
growth when
said.
I found that spot of
See,
like,
and also, we're not fighting.
no, this is all a very civilized conversation. Just saying.
Way more than I imagined it would be.
But like, that's how I grew the most is because I found two chefs who really wanted to push me in a not like aggressive or disruptive way to like bring more to the table and like do my own dishes and not be afraid. Like working at freaking Blackbird was like stressful AF because everything was an X factor. Like, what are you bringing to this dish that makes it so crazy and different? And then like working under a chef,
You're like, maybe asparagus would just be nice here.
I can turn an asparagus in less than 15 fucking seconds. Tell you that.
Yeah.
But like, I think that was what I took away was from like those chefs was that same energy of like, all right, like if you want to put something on the menu, let's see it. And like giving good feedback and not like sabotaging someone because you're afraid that they're gonna take your job. I personally hired people based on whether or not I thought they could do my job.
Yes.
And like, if you have that like fire in you, I will help you grow it, but I will also tell you that like you cannot talk to people like shit. You have to really think about what you're saying and doing before you do it, because people can taste if your food is not made with respect and love.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
I know if I go to a place and I'm eating the food and I'm like, oh, this is like really good or really bad, I know that it's all based on the energy that's happening in that kitchen.
I've said this numerous times, just in general.
Sometimes fear tastes good, though. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. Sometimes fear tastes good.
I have always referenced a place as the Abercrombie and Fitch of hummus. And I will never be able to, like, I'll never be able to move past that. And it's,
why do I know what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's just because, like, I've just been a part of too many things and have worked with too many different individuals, and just have my hands like all across the board. And it's just like, you know, I don't think we need the fucking fireworks and the fucking shit. Like, you know what I mean?
You don't need the fish sauce.
I'm just like, if it's strong enough to stand on its own, then let it shine that way.
Yes.
You know, just like, maybe I don't need to hear some fucking whatever. like, you know, techno music, as I'm just like, I just want some crudité, babe. Do you know what I mean? Like that's kind of just what I want. But you know, that's my experience. But again, the reality is just like, it's consumerism, right? Like
Also,
you have to
as a
build
consumer,
the shit that consumers want, but you have an inherent responsibility to educate them through that process as well.
110%.
Because there's a ton of shit because of press and PR, and we love our, you know, support system, and you know, that's a very definitive statement. Like there is no but or and there. What I do want to communicate is, in order to create something of sustenance and something that truly, truly integrates within the community,
something
of the
that's going to
market,
stand the test of time.
Exactly. It's just like, it takes time,
Yes.
and it takes education, it takes commitment, and it also takes waking people up to be like, yo, like, I mean, you want to talk about like X amount of spend, right? And we can talk about this. It's just like, you want to talk about X amount of spend. The reality is, it's just like, you're already spending like even more than that. And you're just getting like, yeah, you're getting
Crumbs.
something of quality, but you're not getting something of intention.
Yeah.
You're not getting something of vision.
I mean, you're
or
getting something
philosophy,
of
but
intention.
You're getting something.
You're getting something of intention, vision, and philosophy, but it might not be the one that you want.
That's right.
That's why you need the fish sauce.
Ow! Get the fuck out of here!
Get out!
Done! Jesus! Cut it right now.
Now the contention starts.
Yeah. I just said something really fucking nice here, and then you bring in the goddamn fish. You know, these fucking chefs, dude.
Look, yeah, but cooking, and I think all chefs'
Did you
philosophies
discover
on
fish
cooking.
sauce? Because a white man will tell you, a white chef will tell you that they discovered fish sauce. And they will try and teach you how to use it.
Somebody has to teach you how to use it.
Shut it up.
Somebody has to
Shut
teach
it
you
up
everything.
right now, because now we're getting
I
into
learned-
like,
I learned-
No, I don't know.
I learned about fish sauce from Rick Cook, who is Rick. I love you. The whitest
so many
man.
Ricks.
I learned about
I know
fish
a lot of
sauce from
Rick.
Yeah, I
Rick
was
too.
just-
Rick Olemacher.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. Love him.
Rick is the whitest of whites. Love that
Same.
guy to
Wow.
death.
Casper, we love that.
It's like red hair and very
Oh,
pale.
my Rick is not a red hair, but you can have that one.
You can have that one.
Somebody has to teach you all these things.
Yes.
But cooking is a series of contradictory philosophies.
But you can contribute. You can contribute education upon someone without possessing ownership of said knowledge.
Yeah, that's what he did.
That's good for him. That's not.
It'd be out there.
traditional.
People be out there not doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think there's a lot of people doing the right thing, but they just don't get as much publicity as the people doing the wrong thing.
And that's why we're asking them to come here, talk to us.
the hate and the anger and that all sells. And I mean, to cooking with love, there's a big part of me that cooks with, I'm like, you got to cook with hate and you have to cook with fear. Right? Like,
I understand where you're coming from.
Also
I get it.
when I moved from Knoxville to DC, I worked at 3 restaurants in Knoxville, and I went to 2 of them before I left. And I told them, I was like, hey, thank you so much for the time that I spent here. I'm moving to DC, and this is where I'm going.
Everyone hated you.
One of them was incredibly supportive. Like the chef and the sous chef there were like, please go. You are so much better than this restaurant. We love you to death.
Yes.
We can't wait to come and eat at your place there. And one person was like, this is a huge mistake.
Yeah.
A few people were like, this is a huge mistake and
Right,
you're going
because
to
they
fail.
want to keep you where they're at.
Yeah. And I think about those people whenever, like, if I'm
Not
struggling.
those people, babe.
Oh, yeah. I think about those people.
Say
I'm
that,
like, you
no.
know what? I need to make this dish extra good just so I can rub it in that person's face.
Yes.
Right? Like, I'm not going to talk to those people again. They're not going to see any of this food. They're not going to eat
I
any
like
of it.
him.
But I want that.
He's
like,
great.
those are the things that really kind of that's what gives you that extra 1% that
Yeah.
makes something really great. We were opening a restaurant
A little
and
bit extra.
yeah,
The difference between ordinary and extraordinary.
1%.
It's a little bit extra.
we're opening a restaurant. We're like 3 days out. This is the first time I was like the executive chef of a new restaurant. And 3 days out, the owner comes to me and says, I want a lobster dish on the menu. And I'm like, dude, I have a million things going on right now. Because like I'm not just over the kitchen, like I have to oversee
I want
a huge
fucking
aspect
lobster
of.
dish.
Listen. A owner walks in and says, "Is the beginning of every joke in the kitchen."
Fair.
So the next day he comes in and I give him this like lobster dish, and he just looks at it and he's like, "No." I'm like, "Bro,
You tasted it? Did you taste it?
taste
You just,
it.
oh no.
He just looked at it and said no. And I was like, why? Like, taste it. If you want to criticize it, whatever, I don't care. But you have to like taste it and give me some level of like, there's like 2 steps to this process. I make it, you eat it, and we figure it out from there.
Yeah.
And he's just like, you made a safe dish, and that really upsets me as a person. Why would you ever give me something that's safe?
What was the lobster dish?
It was like some kind of like lobster guajillo chili stew kind of thing, and he was just like, no.
It was probably fucking
It was
fantastic.
really good, and he's just like, no, you made like a safe dish, and I hate it, and like I'm not even gonna try
It's
it.
like a riff on like a Chiapino or something, or whatever the fuck it's called.
Listen,
yeah, I don't even remember.
This is the thing, though.
Bouillabaisse.
This is the thing that I've come to understand. People, like consumers, like comfort, and they like looking at something and knowing what it is.
Well, that's why you can end a elevated tasting menu with a fucking lava cake, which is wild to me.
I think about that movie Chef every time someone says lava cake.
That's exactly what I was referencing. I was like, it doesn't matter. Everything that goes into it is just like, this is what I want on the menu.
Crumbling that in his hand and going, it's fucking lava cake. It is what I have always felt in my soul. It's the same feeling I felt every time I had to walk out to a table and explain to them that ocean trout is not the same as fucking salmon. I have to take pictures of the fish before I break it down. I have the tags on. So this is salmon. You're charging. They eat the same fucking thing, bitch. It's pink.
The ocean.
It's pink. What do you want from me? I will put a piece of salmon on the plate next to it. You could taste it, and we can talk about the difference in it because you can see it and taste it. But, it's fine. That's why I make drinks now.
You're like, and that's why I'm out.
But also, like, the best success that I've had with dishes are things that I would consider to be familiar favorites, and I'm finding the same energy with cocktails. If you could inspire a memory or a feeling in someone, you will have more success with that food or beverage than if you are trying to make them try something that's so crazy insane their brain can't even comprehend it. Because people are regular. No matter how extraordinary people become, give them a fucking White Castle burger and see the joy in their face.
Shout out to Desi. Yes.
How do you feel about White Castle?
We're not.
Okay, never. Yeah, go for it.
I mean, go ahead.
I've never had White Castle. In Tennessee, we have something called Crystals, which is the same thing.
Yes.
Right?
He knows.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I have like one of my like core memories as a kid was my dad was out of town. Our mom took us to Crystals, and it was the first time I don't know, maybe like 5 years old or something.
That's how I feel about Sonic with my grandfather.
I've still never been to a Sonic.
My mom was like, look, they have these things called sliders. And I was like, I don't know what that is. Like, it's a burger. And she's like, it's a little different. And yeah, she doesn't remember this. But I was like, I told her the other day because my wife's been traveling a lot.
Well, I mean, and also like food memories are so like.
It's in there.
Yeah, like it's
ingrained.
So impactful.
Yeah.
Like it's wild. And I mean.
So I still get mad about this lobster dish.
Right. No, absolutely. But then also, I mean, we're coming up on time in a little bit. But I mean, we have talked about like you have, 2 young boys. And they're
you have
amazing.
sons?
He does have sons.
Tell me about them.
They're wonderful.
The first time I was going to come on the show, I called Justin the day before and I was like, hey, buddy, my wife just went into labor.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's him. That's him. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. He was.
And I was
he
like,
was a little bit of.
He was the first person I told that we were going to labor.
And I probably took it the way that I shouldn't have taken
A business owner?
Yeah. I was like,
you are
congrats.
personally
and I was like,
doing
texting,
this.
I was just like, I just
Scramble.
Wait. Now I want to hear about your boys, though. Tell me about the children. I fucking love children. They're the best versions of all of us.
They are.
Absolutely.
So one is almost
And he
3,
loves the fuck
and the
out of
other's
that.
almost
They're so
1.5. 2 boys.
One's named after Kendrick Lamar, babe.
That is not true.
His name's just Kendrick.
His name is Kendrick.
Okay. I mean, you should
My
start
wife
going
said, "Do you
with
like
that
the name
now."
Kendrick?" And I was like, "I'm not a big Kendrick Lamar fan." And she was like, "That's not what I asked you." Hold on. No.
Okay.
He was not my.
And Fez is a hip hop head.
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar was not one of my favorite rappers.
Kendrick Lamar won a Pulitzer Prize.
Yes, he is incredibly talented. I think Euphoria is maybe the second best diss track to ever come out.
I mean, it's the second best one to Not Like Us, which has a full ass music video now.
love it.
But
Here
Euphoria
for
is
it.
a better song.
It is a
than
better
Not Like
song.
Us.
Yes.
It is so good. It's
like
just,
lyrically, Euphoria is
so
better than
good.
Not Like Us, but Not Like Us is.
it is the song of the summer.
Yes.
And I don't like Drake, which makes it even sweeter.
Yes.
But you do like Kanye, which makes it a problem. But you know what? We're on a roller coaster here.
Okay, wait.
No. We're not going to go into the whole fucking... Okay,
I'm not going into the whole thing. I was just going to say, I have recently listened to College Dropouts so much that it is now 7 songs of my favorites for the year.
Cut it out. Cut it out.
College Dropout is excellent.
Cut it out.
3 years in a row, Kanye was my #1 artist on Spotify.
I know, so cut it out.
I did not listen to a single song that came after
Fucking Christ, this is fucking
Jesus. But like,
Respect.
yeah.
I'm also giving the same energy with Kanye. Kanye West
You know
is sort of
energy I'm
like
giving? You know
Michael
energy I'm
Jackson,
giving? You know
where
energy I'm giving?
I'm going to finish my sentence. Kanye West is giving the same energy as like Michael Jackson in the Black community, where we know that he's a problem, but there are certain songs that transcend like the issues. Like there are certain people who we have like cut hard, and we don't need to mention them, but we know who they are.
It's giving O.J. Simpson with the Buffalo Bills, babe.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'm really surprised you knew who he played for.
we've argued about this before, Faz.
Sure.
I just learned that right now. Did he die?
He did very recently. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh?
Next.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woo, there we go.
+1 for the planet.
Damn. No.
Yeah, no,
we're
it's
seem
true.
like assholes. No.
Don't care.
Okay.
He murdered 2 people.
Okay, we're
am-
not going in this direction. Everyone relax.
Terms of service, homies. I don't know if you didn't know this, but I am an asshole. Thank you.
Continue.
Kanye West is one of the few people who was in the top 10 rappers and top
Wrap
10 producers
it up.
of all time.
Wrap it up.
It's just
Wrap
a
it
very,
up.
very small Venn
Wrap it
diagram of
up.
people who belong to
Wrap
both
it
of
up.
those.
Okay. This sounds
So
absolutely...
this lobster dish.
Yes. Killed it. Did you know that lobster
Next
used to be
thing.
food for
Did we
poor
not?
people? Sorry.
So, 4...
Lobsters are terrifying looking.
Did you know that they could be half?
So, as we are coming up on time here, I want to give you the opportunity.
Let's talk about my kids. You're right.
Yes.
That's
I
where we
would
were.
like for you to finish talking about your children.
Thank you.
And then in addition to that, what are you interested in creating these environments to put your philosophy of hospitality out into the world?
I just want to say, I wish there was like a video recording of this because Justin is getting so mad at
I know.
I'm not getting so mad. I'm not getting
is
so
all I
mad.
wanted
I'm not
the
getting
whole
so
time.
mad. I'm not getting so mad. And also, there's photography and BTS video happening. So
I'm
maybe
not
you'll see it
getting
later.
so
Perfect.
mad.
So, kids.
You got 2 boys, 1.5, 3.
Yes.
What are their names?
Kendrick and Marcus. Yeah.
So black.
I know.
Yeah. You know.
Did you consider that when you name them that on future job applications? Did you think
Black
about
jobs.
that?
Somebody told me after Kendrick was born because his middle name is Tyson.
Come on,
His name
man.
is Kendrick Tyson Alley.
Oh!
Listen. My partner and I have been talking about
That's about
like
to be
names.
the name of this episode. Okay?
About names
Swear
for
to God.
kids, and we're out here with fucking Siobhan and Shillelagh, and you're like, Kendrick, Marcus, Kendrick Tyson,
Marcus Amir. Somebody told me that.
I mean, my government name is Nariba, so like, no one fucking. When I show up to things, they're like, ooh.
I thought that was was gonna lead this conversation because Justin doesn't like one of our first conversations at the place he didn't want to name was it was about names because I thought his name was Jonathan. And so I was like, hey, Jonathan, your food is ready because I met 800 people that day and I remember 0 names. And he's like, what'd you call me? I was like, Jonathan, right? And he's like, no, my name is Justin. I was like, oh, man.
Okay, another generic J name.
Okay, but then also the impression of me.
True.
Cute.
I thought we were like kind of joking around. So then he comes back in the kitchen later and I'm like, hey, Jonathan, haha. And he's like, gets so mad at me. I was like, bro, okay. I thought this was I thought we were having like a little fun moment here.
No.
Chocolate City. No.
Your updo is bristling.
It's giving frustration. It's giving that.
But I told him, I was like, when I order food, so I said something about like my white name is Frank, right? So if I
Reba.
Yeah. If I
I have never
if I
called
order
you Frank.
takeout,
I have never
you call me Frank all the time. You call me Frank for like 2 years.
Valid.
My brother, his name is Ayinde, and he works in finance, so he goes by AJ.
Right. Justin doesn't have to deal with this, but like for us in the real world, when you order takeout somewhere and you're like, my name is Justin, they're not like, what?
I just put Keith Lee.
So I go by Frank.
Hi, my name is Justin Arnett Graham, and I am here to review this. I'm going to rate it 1 out of 10. Here we go. Literally.
There you go. God is amazing.
Somebody told me that my kids were going to get every scholarship.
Oh, 110.
And never get a job interview.
Probably.
Shit. Who said that to you?
That was one of my old chefs, Tom.
Yeah. Listen, but that is very real. Okay,
That's so real.
When I did the SATs and we were filling out all the like financial aid paperwork, mine was different because sad, but not sad. My dad died when I lived in the States and my sister was my legal guardian. But they never renewed the affidavit. So by the time I was getting ready to graduate from high school, I was technically a ward of the state. And so even though my sister was still raising me, but legally ward of the state. And so I got every single scholarship. And my mother, Sharon Shepherd, fucking loved this bitch. She was like, don't forget that you could mock Asian on like scholarships. Really? Because she's like a quarter Chinese. And so
aren't we all?
I put that shit on there. I don't know, maybe. When I lose my mom in public, I say that she looks like a fucking
that's not
tan
Chinese.
Asian woman with freckles wandering around.
I don't think the Mongols would consider themselves Chinese.
I just said Asian. I want to specifically.
I'm Asian.
Yeah, he's Asian.
Faiz, I know. Okay. Yes, I know this very well. But also, in an attempt to wrap this up and package it as nicely together as we can, considering this roller coaster, which it was
so much fun. I liked it.
This is absolutely great, but also I'm still not done.
Oh,
Faiz,
Justin,
I think.
Did you even talk about this drink?
I'm getting there.
Oh, that's what you were trying to do.
Yeah, no, it's fine. We're gonna get there on the wrap. So, I think it's really important for our wonderful audience to hear from you about you, with what you have been doing, and getting your name out there in regards to the Chicago market and the community of fucking brands that are trying to help you do that. So
it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah. So I did okay. But don't think about it in regards to pressure. It's just like, you are extremely talented, passionate, and you have this vision with just the know-how of how to bring it all together. And that is extremely, extremely important.
And rare.
And rare, because people will be like, I want to do this. Nightmare.
I feel like I've always been in very fortunate positions, and I've like tried to seek out these positions in life where I have a lot of like autonomy over what I'm doing in the restaurant world. So
Yes.
spending almost 10 years working for somebody, they give you a lot of rope, and they really like want you to kind of come into your own. So I've been helping like design restaurants and run them and set up them from like an operational perspective, and things kind of to fit the way that I think works the best and gives like the best quality of life to myself and all my coworkers, and allows us to like make money, because that's the point of
Ideally.
a business. Like,
Yeah, I mean, that's
businesses
the,
exchange
that's the thing. Yeah.
businesses exchange goods and services for money. There's
Yeah,
a lot
because
of
it is
people out there
transactional.
who don't realize this.
It is very much transactional.
Like the lady who asked me why at our Mexican restaurant we did not give out free chips and salsa, because we are in the
costs
business
money.
of selling food
Yeah.
for money. That's how it works. I
Yes.
still remember you, lady. I hope you remember our conversation.
You're like, this will never leave me.
Yeah. No, I don't want it to.
Sounds good.
That fits in that hate part. The
Yeah.
little hate and fear.
You need it.
Yeah.
You need it.
Yeah.
It's fair.
I'm currently working with depression and anxiety as like my motivations for life. But like I lived in that camp for a minute. It makes you efficient,
Yeah, it does.
but it can't be the beginning and the end of it all. You know?
It can't
It
be
could
the
be a little
identity
bit.
of it.
Yeah.
This is a little part of it. Depression. Well, I can't
it
speak to
can't-
the anxiety.
okay,
too
so,
much,
like-
but the depression
Identity
is.
of it.
If it's going to be like one of those like word generator things,
Yeah, it
it
can't
could
be
be
the
a
biggest
small.
word.
Yeah, it has to be
Yeah.
like a medium sized to
That's-
small word. It can't
Yeah.
be
I
like the
love
one
that.
in the front.
I love that. I love that.
That- yeah.
Mine would be petty, like all caps
Hard.
in the front. Petty.
Mine would be children.
Well, that's because you're a parent.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, I'm a parent,
yeah,
but of cats.
a-
That's not the same.
A little quick tidbit. Bess and I have spoken at, I want to say, all hours of the evening,
At length.
but very early. And one of my favorite things about you, Faiz, is we'll be talking about like business and strategy and like all of this stuff. And it's just like, I'm running off at like 2 hours of sleep because boundaries, I'm working on it. Get off me. Is, how much like your kids are like just around you. And so like when we started having the conversations, I was just like, oh, I don't think I heard this part because like, it's just like
there's a
whatever.
screaming child.
But it really heralds me back to when I was younger and how much like my mom like always just like was for me and around me.
Yeah.
And it's just like it became very soothing because like the economy of bringing things to life is difficult, right? However, just seeing what it's for and why it matters, that has always been extremely inspiring to me.
Thanks.
I'm trying to inspire you too. I want to be part of the economy of bringing a child into the world.
I'm not talking about
Like a
child,
parasite
okay, now,
growing
Faiz,
inside
go
of
ahead,
your
go
body.
ahead,
Sorry.
Go ahead, Faiz.
It is crazy. Like pregnancy and like all that. And it's wild.
I went to school and learned that shit, and I still want to give birth to a child.
It is insane that you just like
Grow
just
a human
make
inside
baby
of you,
and then, like,
and then you have to take care of it.
this is gonna be the part that gets clipped and like
No,
I
go
get
for
canceled
it. I'm not gonna stop it. Keep going.
It's insane to me that like women, and I've watched my wife go through this 2 times.
Keep trying to do it.
No, but just like there's no active part after you make the baby.
No.
Right? Like it all happens.
Yep.
Without you physically, like, you don't have to be like grow arms now. Like
Yeah.
and that
Yep.
is wild.
Yes.
Like
It has its own path and journey, and it's doing it. I am obsessed with the idea that we have not come up with a better version of creating life in the thousands of years that we've been around. But I will say that things that people don't know, when you create a human inside of your body, 20% of your brain is rerouted to this process just to begin with. So like, that's why they call it pregnancy brain. It's not your wife becoming stupid. It is literally 20% of her brain that is in use is going somewhere else. And we only use like, what is it? 10%. Yeah. Like you're down 2% immediately.
Yeah.
And you just have to exist like that. And so
the amount of blood in your body doubles. That's like the first thing. Like it's all
of it is
crazy.
Not
you grow an
good.
organ.
And then after you give birth, all your organs shift back into the positions that they were once in because they made room for a parasite to grow inside of your body.
Okay, so we're talking about pregnancy, so therefore we're going to go ahead
Wrap this up. Yep.
Cut
Gotcha.
that.
Yep. No! It's important information. Are you trying to limit the narrative of women in this political climate?
Shout out to pregnant ladies.
You're trying to take away the rights of women talking about their bodies?
I'm gonna lose my fucking mind.
Yeah. No. Not
ahead.
today, Satan.
So, kids. So I think one of our big responsibilities,
man.
and this is what, like, I was very fortunate. I had two amazing parents. I still have two amazing parents. But
They're
it's
very
like
sweet.
they're the best. It's my goal to be better parents than they were.
Yeah.
Which is a very high bar.
It is,
like,
but we should always be doing better.
Yeah,
by our
and
kids.
that's the philosophy that I try to have in the hospitality business. I want the kitchens that I run to be better than the kitchens that I came up in.
Yes.
And I want the people that come after me to do a better job than I did, because like that's how we see progress in this world, in this space. And that's why I started doing these pop-ups. When we had the second kid, I quit my job as a chef and I took some time to be a stay-at-home dad, which was...
Why did you quit that job, Faiz?
I don't... It was a lot.
I mean, that could be the entire sentence. It was a lot. Yeah.
It was... I guess the juice wasn't worth the squeeze at that point in time.
The berry sweet of the juice, babe.
I came from environments where like I said, I controlled 90% of what happened in the restaurant. And like, I would pick the servers' uniforms. I would sit down with like our GM and say like, this is the spiel that we're going to have the servers say when people come into the restaurant. And to go from like that level
of autonomy,
to much less than that, it wasn't fulfilling for me anymore, because I didn't want to just be like a part of the machine. I wanted to be the guy who built the machine. And that, coupled with, I could do a whole episode on the issues of childcare, but there was a big there was a gap between maternity leave and the start of childcare, and there was nothing that was going to be worth it to deal with in that gap. So like, my wife's parents, my parents, everything, like we could have made it work.
It's all hands on deck.
But I was like, I don't want to live like that.
Yeah.
And like work in this environment and put, my wife's parents and my parents out and having my parents come and live with us for months at a time to make this work, because they're amazing. But I was just like, ultimately the best thing for us and for me is to do this. And coming from a situation where I would work 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day with like the commutes and stuff, see my kids for like an hour and a half, 2 hours a day.
It's not worth it.
It wasn't worth it.
No.
So to go from that with the first child to be a stay-at-home dad for the second one was the greatest experience I've ever had. And it made me grow significantly as a person and be like a much more like kind and empathetic person, and be more understanding.
Men having children will save most of us, is all I'm saying. Because I feel like a lot of the guys that you interact with in kitchens don't know that because they don't have responsibilities. And as soon as men have like a responsibility that is not work related, their brains shift. This is a biological thing. When people have children, partners pick roles and their brains physically change to accommodate that. So like traditionally the person that gives birth is like the helicopter parent, and then the secondary parent is there for supporting them to grow and giving them a little bit more space, whereas the other parent is wrangling it in. And that changes depending on how much time you spend and interact with the child. It literally like blows up your like sensory portals in your brain and like pushes that.
It's interesting.
So, yeah.
So
there's a whole documentary on Netflix you could watch about it. Babies. Just saying.
When I had my first child and I went back, I took 2 weeks for paternity leave and went back, and my boss called me right before I went back and said, he's like, are you going to be, Dr. Dad, or are you coming back?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm back, and like, I'm hungrier and angrier because I have a child to feed, and like you messing up like a produce order or like messing up cooking a steak is literally taking food away from my child. Like, it's taking money away from me, and that's taking food away from my child. And I lived like that for 2 weeks. And then I was just like, this doesn't matter.
Yes.
Like, I'm not going to get this mad and dump all this cortisol into my bloodstream and die an early death because you screwed up a steak. Like, I have a kid at home.
Yep.
I don't care about this that much. Like, it's just food. And that made me a much better chef.
Yes.
And way better person. But after quitting my job and be a stay-at-home dad, I miss restaurants. I miss cooking. I miss cooking for people.
You always miss what you don't have.
I miss running a line. I just don't miss like
running a line, but not a brigade.
No, I miss.
Ooh.
When it's 8 o'clock on a Saturday night and the rail is full of tickets and it's like
you never feel more alive.
It's teetering on the brink of disaster, and I'm like, guys, I got this.
Yes.
Listen to me. We're good. And
I mean, but that's still a line, but it doesn't have to be a brigade. But we'll circle back on that.
I guess.
I understand. I understand what you're talking about.
Like that feeling, like that is such a when you're just like, I know I can do this, and I'm.
That's how I felt.
You're the captain of the ship.
That's how I felt last weekend during Pride, and there was a fucking line of tickets, and everyone's freaking out, and I was like, "It's gonna happen, baby.
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
Just listen to me and do exactly what I tell you, and we are going to be fine."
Yes.
And you just crush.
That.
It's the best.
Great.
It's a symphony. You're directing all of your players, and you're getting that song done.
Yes. So,
and that's why I started doing pop-ups. I had to get a little bit of that. I had to get a little bit of that back. I had to like flex this. I wanted to flex those creative muscles a little bit. I wanted to cook, and it's a lot. It's like way more than I thought it would be to like pop an entire restaurant experience that's supposed to be
to market it, to fucking shoot. Yeah,
just to like I didn't have enough pots and pans to do this. So shout out to JB Prince, my very good friends, JB Prince, Kikuichi Knives, Masienda Masa. There's so many people that are, when you put something out there and say like, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm passionate about. Get to you. There's so many people who are like, oh, I'll help you do that. Like, I want to believe in you. I want to support you. And I think that's
there's a community in that.
That's what like the backbone of this industry really is. It's people helping and supporting each other and being a part of something that's like bigger than us individually. And it's been so much fun to put this program together. I mean, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to like pop up a whole ass restaurant overnight. And to try and like deliver it that.
Yeah, but also I will say that you do it with finesse though. Like it's just everything is very well articulated, everything is well positioned, everything is well portioned. Like you know exactly what you need and how to deliver it.
Math is your friend, people.
Yes.
Yeah. And so it's just like that is a very significant difference.
You have to create that space in which you exist in the world. Yeah. And so if you're going to be, when I was a young cook, if you were like messy, if your apron was like dirty to get into service, it's like, oh, I worked so hard. Look at me. I'm like so dirty because I was working so hard. No. And then when you're a little older and you're like, my apron is spotless at the end of the day because I am a ruthless, efficient machine. and like the floor around me is clean.
Yes.
My cutting board is clean. Like everything is exactly the way that it should be. Like it takes a lot. It took me a while to learn that, but yeah, that's the only world I want to live in. Where like things are neat and tidy and the floor is clean and I'm not stepping on stuff and I don't have a bunch of extra food at the end of the day. And like, I know exactly what my pars are because I workshop them frequently, and you live in that. I want to live in that world of like normalcy.
I've brought that same energy into bartending, and my bar back loves me, but the other bartender hates me because I treat it like it's an open kitchen, because that's what it is. A bar is an open kitchen.
Yeah.
So my station is always like, I take something and I put it back in the exact same place. I'm wiping things as I go, and like, I feel like that also, separate from this, but is the same energy that if you're in a kitchen and you think that that's all you can do, you can go into any job and people will be like, you are so efficient, you understand what needs to be done, you are task oriented. Like, all of those skills overlap.
Absolutely.
From service industry into the real world. And so like, I'm not saying get out, but I'm saying like,
but also I just want to clarify here, it's just like, you know, there's always this kind of inclination to where the hospitality industry isn't a part of the real world economy.
yes,
And I want to make a very firm statement that that is very untrue.
yes,
And it is the backbone of the overall economy.
yeah,
So, because it is so open-ended, and that's just the reality. Because it's like, oh, well, like, you do this because you're trying to get somewhere else later. There is nothing wrong with doing this for your entire fucking life if that's something that you're passionate about.
Exactly.
And something that you feel as if you're growing towards whatever your individual goals are.
Exactly.
Because I don't believe that career goals are going to be identifiable to you long term. Because we
It
all need
changes.
to evolve.
Yeah,
It
it
grows,
doesn't
yeah.
give you what you need.
Right.
Most people
Exactly.
will have 3 career changes in their lives. Most people,
If not
is
more
the
in this
saying.
economy.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
I'm going into number 1.
there you go.
There you go.
Well,
Sure.
2 technically. You're a dad.
I guess, yeah.
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 That's a full-time job.
Yes. So again, because I have been trying to wrap this up because
I mean,
we are
you could wrap it up.
so over time, but no, I'm not done. Talk about your shit, Fez.
What you got going on right now?
So Mas Padre is the pop-up that I'm doing. It is
What's that mean?
Mas Padre means like pretty cool. I thought you
I was waiting for Justin, and then he didn't do anything, and then I was like, it's too late for
Yeah.
me.
I thought it meant very cool.
maybe it is very
Diego,
cool.
what does that mean?
Mas Padre?
Yeah.
It's like kind of cool.
Okay.
Around there.
I mean, very cool.
Yeah. There we go. Thank you.
It's like my love letter to Mexican food. I really coinciding with like my growth, my real growth as a chef and like a leader in a kitchen, and everything was my introduction to Mexican food. And it literally started out as somebody handing me a menu for a restaurant that was not open, and he said, "Figure out how to make all of these dishes." And that just started this like very long love affair with Mexican food, because it is
Cool.
such a unique cuisine. Like if you just look at the parameters of it, when you've got the seafood, you've got the oceans, you have the influences of Spanish and Italian people who came over into like the port of Veracruz. And then you have like the entire indigenous history of the people of what is today Mexico.
Yes.
Pozole, if you didn't know.
Pop off.
Pozole was first made with the heads of people that they would kill in battle. And if you were like a fierce
Fact check
warrior
him, Diego.
and they killed you, they
that
would
right?
make pozole and
He's
try to absorb
Venezuelan.
your
I know,
powers.
but also it's just I know he's fucking Venezuelan, but also
I was like,
I know.
it's a Mexican dish.
listen, my whole thing, and also I'm not gonna call anyone out on the crew. They're just like anytime that fucking Spanish shit is fucking mentioned, just fact check that through us. And you know what? It's been fact checked. It's Thanks, Diego. Love you so much.
But you have cuisine that goes back like thousands of years. So like
Yes.
amaranth is an ancient grain, and it was like one of the first things that the Spanish outlawed as they conquered Mexico.
Yeah.
Because there were so many like rituals that were tied to the harvesting of amaranth, and so you have a history of cuisine that is that deep. Like tomatoes went to Italy from like the New World, right?
Yeah.
From like Mexico and the Americas. And
then it became their whole identity.
Yeah.
Shade.
And so like it's leave it in.
No, he edits out all my burps. This is like the smallest of them all, but yeah.
And that's I love Mexican food so much because it's so vast and just like it's good. Right? Like there's never a time where like you can eat tacos every single day.
Yes.
And like you won't get sick of it. I ate tacos every single day for 9 years.
Also,
Yes.
we can't ignore the influence of your ethnicity in regards to how important this is as well.
I'm confused by that statement.
Why would you be confused about this? I mean, because you are Pakistani.
Yes.
Yes. And
Great pronunciation.
Thank you. And then,
With that soft A.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I know you. And also, I do my research. But not creeping research.
It's okay. He met my parents.
I be calling
Twice.
it creeping.
Also, I do.
I'll
Yeah.
creep till the day I die.
And so I think that there's a very brilliant overlap between like your passion for Mexican cuisine and also your ethnic heritage with also the influence of the South.
I also think that
That's a really cool progression.
yeah.
There are a lot. When you really look at it, there's so many parallels between like ethnically Asian food and like the food of Latin America.
Yeah.
Because it's rice, it's braised meats, it's cheaper cuts of meat that you're cooking for a long time. It's like this depth of spice. Like you're going to find like cinnamon, cumin, coriander, cilantro, chilies are just, they're everywhere in both cuisines. Limes, ginger, garlic, like they're so closely related and they taste completely different.
Yes.
And it's
portions and the way that you like vary your ingredients. I think that if you're from Chicago, everything that you do is a love letter to Mexican food because it's like the silent current of the food economy here in the city.
So funny thing that you mentioned that because we talked about Mas Padre. There's one other thing that you should be mentioning upon our closing.
Wanda?
Yes.
I love this. Keep going.
Yes.
Tell me more.
I wish the video was only because like the light up on
I know.
on
I
his
saw
face.
it.
Yeah.
I had to make
A
sure.
little sparkle in your eye.
So Mas Padre is like our formal fine dining, fancy pantsy Mexican food experience, right? It's a 7-course tasting menu, and we pop up once a month.
I just want to know when I will be invited to maybe come and hang out with you cool kids.
We'll talk about it
It's
off
kinda
mic.
cool.
Go ahead.
If you're listening to this after July 12th and you didn't come to the dinner, you missed out.
You have
Sorry.
missed out, but also
Sorry.
you've missed
Buy
out.
your tickets for August.
Regardless, yes. So we'll figure this out. Yeah. Go ahead.
So the Buenanda is the exact opposite of that. Buenanda means good vibes, and it's just like it's our fun, casual party, and we are popping up doing Mexican. Are you fact checking that?
Sorry, what?
Buenanda? Is that true?
What is it?
Buenanda,
Buenonda? What are you saying then?
like good vibes.
Yeah, that's completely true.
Thank you.
I want to crawl out of the booth.
We got this.
Buenanda is like our very casual Mexican dining experience. So it's no reservations, no course menu. It is fun and slightly fancy Mexican street food. So we're doing like brisket tamales, and last time we did an egg roll that was filled with like elote and rajas con queso.
Shut the fuck
Yeah.
up. You
Fire.
you
Fucking fire.
gentrified the Southwest egg roll?
Yeah.
Yes, it's already gentrification station. You
Right.
pulled up, you were like,
Throw some more
Yes.
stuff in there. Yeah.
love it.
Because it's just supposed to be fun.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah, you know,
All right.
good
Kendra.
vibes, heavy beats, you know,
Lots of mezcal.
lots of mezcal.
Gotcha,
you know?
gotcha.
So, yeah,
Okay.
Shout out to mezcal.
Yo, I fucks with mezcal.
yeah, we
Mezcal's
know
the
it.
best
Yeah.
drink
Spirit,
of all the drinks.
Yes.
spirit.
Sure.
Yeah,
I'm pretty I'm pretty up
Whatever.
there.
I mean, my favorite drink is mezcal in a glass.
yeah, that's
the recipe.
You do prefer mezcal neat.
If you want to make the special Fez's signature cocktail, you just take the bottle and you put it in a glass and you're done.
I respect that. That's how I feel about scotch. That's my favorite drink.
Really?
If you just put
Just-
the scotch in
yeah.
a glass,
No.
that's it.
Anyhow, in closing,
You can find information on these pop-ups.
Yes. Tell us where
On
they can
Instagram?
find you.
yeah,
It's at Chef Faiz Ali, FaizAlly. Yeah. Chef. I hope you know how to spell chef, but CHEF FaizAlly.
That's gonna be a meme.
how was your time with us?
It was fun. This
Yes.
was much less combative than I thought it would be.
We're just talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Justin
we
and I rarely talk though. On the phone or things like that. It's,
Okay,
yeah, we talk
I'm just
a lot.
gonna go ahead and say this. You keep saying we really talk on the phone, but if really talking is being loud at each other, is that communicating well?
In person,
No,
it's
no,
very
no.
loud. The phone
Yeah,
is
yeah,
like
no,
very.
The phone,
the phone is conversation.
Like,
Okay.
Yeah, like the phone is
We do
fine because
business.
it's like we're
Yeah.
just like, hey, like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this?
Yeah.
You know, what did this person say?
Maybe
Oh,
it's
like,
me.
what did this
Maybe if
person
I
say?
leave, y'all can have the row
But
that
it's
you
like
want.
as soon as he gets in the car with me, he's like, "What's your opinion on Caitlin Clark?" And I'm like, "I'm opinionated."
God. Okay. Chill.
And Seam.
Chill.
What do we need to do?
Chill.
I'm asking you.
What do you mean?
Like the things that we need to do.
Oh no, I thought it was Caitlin Clark.
No.
I was like, I don't know enough. I don't know enough.
Somebody on Caitlin Clark's teams needs to throw hands.
Hands thrown.
Anyway, we're not doing that. So Fez,
Justin,
as a colleague, partner, fan, friend, everything to you, thank you for coming.
thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah. You know,
I'm glad we finally got to do this.
For real.
yeah, me
It only
neither.
took you 1.5 babies.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's also very true. So
If they're allowed to count children in months, we're allowed to count time in babies.
children?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So, as we have been trying to wrap up here, we have been enjoying the Real Down to Mars. And so that is featuring Ritual Gin Alternative, Orgeat, Chinola Mango, Falernum, and a bit of lemon.
I do
And
taste the
also,
Falernum.
again, all of this has been facilitated by Katie McCourt,
Instagram
stepping
handle?
in for the Garnet team, which we love so very much. And so for her specifically, feel free to give her a follow and a lot of love at Campari Butter Kisses on Instagram, and
Fire
also
name.
see her in person at Sierra in the Hoxton.
It's a fire name.
Yes, it's a fire
Bitch,
name.
you work at the Hoxton?
Yes.
Love it.
Yes, she.
I be there with Justin sometimes. Only with Justin, though.
Yeah, well, I'm going there after here because I have so much work that I have to do.
Fair enough.
But, you know, Fez,
Justin. Nariba.
this was
That's
so
my name.
great, and this is gonna be such a long episode.
It is, but it's a good one.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
we're gonna figure it all out. Yes.
Part 2 coming soon.
Okay, well, not with the drop. Okay, I love that, and also before I wrap up here, you know, it
Season
becomes
4.
even more important to express how much the industry is reflected here. We know that we have other, you know, colleagues in the space, but what we want to showcase is, you know, authenticity and sustainability. And I don't want us to be another platform that fades into the distance. And I can't wait for you to see what we're doing mid-August. So,
You'll never fade, my dude. Yeah.
you know, I appreciate that.
Not
But
with that
also,
hair.
shout out to the entire Biko production crew and
Word.
editing. I could not do this without you. Also,
Literally.
Nuiba, thank you so much for being you. Shout out to our friends at Ritual and Chinola. And also, if you did not know, Chinola is from the DR, so like, rep that shit. And yeah, I mean, I'm just feeling very grateful
Yeah.
and thankful.
Yes.
And
It is cancer season, so it makes sense that you feel that way.
okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
we love to see it. Also, thank you again, Diego, for everything that you were doing.
All the fact checks.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, for all the fact checks.
Even the ones you couldn't.
Yeah, like we
But
don't know out here, you know, it's just like Venezuela is not Mexico.
It is
You
not.
know, it is not. But yes, so
Angostura is also not a product of Trinidad. Well, it is a product of Trinidad and Tobago, but it was originally from Venezuela. I have to give that to him.
absolutely. And on that note,
My name is Nuriba Shepherd. You can find
and my
me
name is
at...
Justin Ornette Graham, and you can
I
find
thought
me
you were
on
going to close it
Instagram
out,
at
bitch!
Mrs.
Oh
Biko.
my God. Rebaru, R-E-B-A-R-U. We'll see you in 2 weeks.